Hey, and welcome to Bahati Hilda Sabiti's channel, where we talk about love, we talk about self improvement, mental health, and anything to do with creating an epic life. Okay, and if you are new here, make sure that you subscribe. But for those of you that have been with me, just jot down your question. We'll be sure to answer your question, and then let me know how else we can help each other. Okay, we are here to learn, we are here to maximize creating a happy life, and I don't want to leave you behind, and we leave no stone unturned. We don't miss our words, we don't mix them, and we say everything the way it's supposed to be said. Okay, so that aside, I want us to talk about respect, and I want us to talk about respective from a perspective that not so many of us are well conversant or we are used to, because we usually talk about respecting other people. How best can we show respect? How can we show respect? How can we show respect? And we've talked about that so many times. So today I want us to talk about teaching the people in our lives how to respect us, or you teaching the people in your life how to respect you, because so many people will come around, manipulate you, use you, or be passive aggressive, just do stuff and then just walk away. You remain with the heart, with a heart that is heavy. You remain with a drained heart. You remain with a negative energy, and then you keep asking yourself, "What's wrong with me? Why is it that no one respects me, even in intimate relationships or in just normal family relations, or in my workspace? Why is it that people just walk all over me, just don't respect me, and they walk away with it? They get away with it. That's not fair." Okay, and number one, I know that it sounds like cliche, that so many people have said it time and again, that we teach the people in our lives how to respect us, and how we teach them is we have to first respect ourselves. Now, easier said than done, because if someone tells you to respect yourself, sometimes you will not know how to even respect yourself. Okay, so this is where I want us to begin: self-awareness, because you cannot respect the person that you don't know. So if you take time and understand yourself, who are you? What do you want from a relationship? What do you expect from another person, from your significant other, from your family relative, from your colleague? What do you want? Is it articulate? Is it straight? Is it communicated? And we will talk about communication later on, and how you have to really, really be clear. But again, in self awareness, then you know exactly when they say that begin by respecting yourself, then you will know. And then you just don't jot down or say or note down what you expect of others and what you expect out of a relationship, but what can you give to yourself? Now, that is the most important thing. What can you give to yourself? Okay, so that is when you learn to know that I can say no, and I can have peace of mind. I can have the calmness. I can be at peace with myself even when I say no. I don't have to be a people pleaser. I don't have to be everywhere doing everything for everyone. Okay, I just have to love myself enough. What can I give myself? I can give myself love. What can I give myself? Peace. What can I give myself? Calmness. What can I give myself? I can give myself so much more, because then if you can't give it to yourself, then no one is going to give it to you. Just like if you can't respect yourself, no one is going to respect you. So self-awareness is very, very huge. And what do you need to do? Okay, because the things that you need to do then are going to build up the momentum towards others noticing that you actually deserve a lot more, and you deserve to be respected. Okay, so that's where you know that you have to keep your promises. When you say that, you know what, I'm just not going to take more than what I can chew, or what I can do. Okay, that's a promise you keep to yourself, and say, okay, what else do I need to do? Do I need to lose weight? eat? Do I need, I think the things that you need to do for you, you as a person, where do I need to change? Do I need to change this behavior? What do I need? And then you keep a promise to yourself. Let me tell you, number one, respect to yourself is keeping your own promises. When you say you're going to do something, make sure that you do it. Then you are respectful to you, and then whoever is in your life is exactly going to mirror the same behavior towards you, because they know when you say something, you actually fulfill it. So when they say something, when they promise something, they are going to fulfill it because they know you respect you. Okay, now that's very huge, but we have to just go on to other things. And just a moment, when you say a lot of yeses, you end up breaking and draining yourself. We talked about saying no as something that you need to do for yourself, or something that you can give to yourself. So many of us have ended up saying a lot of yeses, either to work, either to friendships, either to relationships, either to kind of treatment or behaviors. You say yes, and what you tolerate grows. And when it grows, it becomes a monster that later on actually eats you up. So I don't know, how you look at this is very important, and how you activate this in your life is very, very important. And then let's just go to number two: learn to invest in the people that invest in you. Now, I'm not talking about long-term relationships here. Because those are the people that have been there for you, and you just have to be there for them. Now, when you are just starting a relationship or just beginning a dating phase, you realize that sometimes if we are people pleasers, and if we have, I think, the curse of lovely, there's a way we tend to overfunction. Now, when you overfunction, you're telling the other person to just fold their arms and look at you and not give you what you need. And maybe they're not even going to respect you. They are going to call you a nice person. They're going to say, oh, she goes out of her way to do ABCD. Oh, she just loves doing this and this. Oh, she's like this and this. But they are never going to say how you deserve more, how you deserve better, how you deserve to be respected. There's a way we just feel like you are over availing yourself. And so if you're over available, then there's a way we just don't need you, because you're not in scarcity, you're in plenty. But if you're scarce, then everyone wants you, everyone wants to fight for you, everyone wants to respect you. Okay, so learn to invest. When you're just beginning a dating or a relationship, make sure that you just don't overfunction, you don't run ahead of yourself, you don't over invest when you're not being invested in. So this can be in terms of time, this can be in terms of gifting, this can be in terms of just chasing and pursuing, this can be in terms of emotional support, this can be in terms of so many things. But make sure you do not invest where you are not invested in. Invest in the people that invest you, because then you'll be nurturing these relationships, and these will be respecting kind of relationships. Okay, and then let's learn how to respond and not react. Now, this is a huge one, because I've shared this so many times with my clients in the counseling sessions and the coaching sessions, where someone does something and they expect they're going to spark you off, and then you just fall into the trap of reacting without thinking or without delaying. And I think it's the delay of gratification is what really helps in this moment. When someone reacts and then you delay when someone does something and then you delay the reaction, or then you're planning for a response, and the response is usually either good or thought about or planned about, or just you just have a sense of clarity because you've given yourself time between the act or the spark or whatever it is, the trigger, and then the responding. But a reaction comes immediately. A reaction is like reflex action. Okay, you just don't wait, you just don't plan, you don't go through the processes, you don't make decisions, you just come off poof, and you say it's something that you're going to regret for the rest of your life. So when we say learn to respond and not to react, and this happens to people who usually gaslight, who are passive aggressive, who are manipulators, people who are just rude. A person will start a conversation, and then when they start this conversation, you realize this conversation is headed into a bad kind of spot, and you just don't want to involve yourself in that conversation. Now, so many people keep going with that conversation, not knowing that they are turning tables on themselves, and they are going to end up being disrespected, and they're going to end up being the negative ones. Have you ever seen people that start a trigger or a spark or a conversation, or maybe you're the one who started it, but there's a way they just jump in disrespectfully, say anything that comes to their mind, and then they expect that you're still going to engage with them in that kind of conversation. Now, if you are wise, this is what you do. You say, you know what, I do know that this conversation will take this course, but I think I really want to end it right now, so that I can take time and think through before we can soberly and amicably sort out this or talk about this. So you realize that you are walking away from a trap, you are walking away from a snare, and you are walking away sober and powerful. But most times, if you give in to the demands of the other person, the gaslighter and the passive aggressive person and the manipulator, there is a way you will say things that you will regret, and then all of a sudden they're going to turn tables. And I think you've seen this happen. They're going to turn tables on you. When they turn tables on you, they are going to walk away free and happy, and then you're going to remain with the negativity, you're going to remain with the frustration, you're going to remain with all the anger, and you just don't know what to do about it. And remember, these same people will keep doing the same thing. Why? Because if you are a reactor, most of the times people will know your buttons, and they will keep pushing those buttons. And whenever they push those buttons, they're like, you know what, let me sit aside and just watch this unfold. And exactly, it unfolds the exact way they expected it to unfold. That means there's no surprise, as in you are too predictable. They know they will press this, and this is how you're going to react. They will say this, and this is how you're going to react. You'll either cry, you will kick, you will abuse, you'll insult, and then they are going to walk away happy and satisfied, and then you're going to remain guilty and negative and angry and frustrated and depressed, which is not worth it. Okay, so if you want to teach people how to respect you, you learn to respond and not to just react. Okay, and then let's learn how to verbally communicate. Okay, now when you say verbally communicate, I know most of you will be like, but we usually verbally communicate. Yes, I know you verbally communicate, but with a lot of clarity, and not just with tears and crying and pointing fingers, and all that, but that selection of words and how you present those words, the approach of those words really, 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 really matters. So if you say that you want to have a healthy communication, that means, just like I gave an example in the previous in the previous statement, or in the previous point, where I said that you can disengage. Now, with verbal communication, a healthy communication is the kind of communication where you can see it is tending to a bad communication, or it's tending to an angry communication, and you can be able to actually cut it in the middle and say, you know what, I'm better off disengaging, I'm better off thinking this through, I don't think I've taken time, or maybe let me sleep on it. Now, that is verbal, very articulate, very clear, and then you're disentangling from a very bad kind of communication or an end result. Okay, so if that is not where you want to head, if the voices are going high, if the conversation is turning bitter and it's angry, then you just decide and say, okay, this is where I choose to respect myself, and if I want to be respected, I'm better off sleeping on it, I'm better off taking time to make a sober decision, and then coming back to this. Now, some of you will ask me, doesn't that seem like you're giving someone a silent treatment, or you're walking away from? I mean, it really seems toxic. No, it's not toxic. It's a responsible kind of act when you choose to say, because you have verbally communicated. It's not like you just walk away without saying anything, but you can exclude yourself from a conversation. Why? I mean, communicating clearly and saying, this is the reason as to why I'm pulling away. And after I have regrouped, after I have thought through, then we can come back to this conversation. And when you promise to come back to that conversation, make sure that you come to that conversation. And then lastly, I will talk about setting boundaries. I know this is something that so many people have talked about, but healthy boundaries really help. And how do you set the boundaries is by knowing what you want out of a relationship. And this relationship, it doesn't have to be just intimate. It could be so many other relationships. So you set boundaries by communicating and knowing exactly what you need out of that kind of relationship or friendship or whatever it is. So you decide and say and stipulate and say this is, and if you see something that is not what you really need, you make sure that you communicate it. So that means that you're not tolerating something, and that means that you're going to gain respect at the end of the day, because a person will know, okay, she said she does not want this, or she's not okay with this, so I'm not going to do it again. And that is a form of respect. And very importantly, I will end on this note. Let's be very careful about the stories that we keep telling ourselves in our minds and in our heads, and the self-defeating kind of talk that we usually have, because that's the same kind of self-defeating talks that make us insecure. They take away our confidence, they take away our self-esteem, and then before we know it, we are doing things that lead us into the snares and the traps of being disrespected. Why? Because we are beating ourselves down. We are beating ourselves down about our weight, about how we put on, about how much money we have, about what kind of family we come from, about our color, about, our type of hair, about the things that we have no business worrying about. Because, I mean, some of the things, you're not going to change them. You're not going to choose the kind of parents or which nationality. You're not going to choose that. So self-defeating talk, that one we fight and we stop. Okay, so you want people to respect you, make sure that you do the things that we have talked about. And from me to you, we'll be bye for now, and see you in the next video.